Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Michael, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. You started with the National Post article. Front page there, conversations with Trump, the White House, they've been wooed. How important is it for this movement to happen during Trump's term? And what does it mean to have support from the US when Quebec did not have that support?
Yeah, like it's very important, like even though our pathway to independence is constitutional and legal, you can appreciate that people in Ottawa are going to do what they can to thwart our efforts, even though we're doing it peacefully and properly and democratically. One of the most important aspects of becoming independent, and actually this is, the Supreme Court of Canada talked about this in the secession reference case, the importance of international recognition. And with Donald Trump in the White House, it's very likely that if Alberta was to vote for independence, and actually this is talked about in the National Post article, if Alberta voted for independence, it's very likely that Donald Trump would recognize us as an independent country. So as long as he is president, which is another 3 years or whatever, if we hold our referendum and vote for independence, he's very likely to acknowledge us. And once the United States has acknowledged our independence, there's very little that Ottawa can do afterwards to thwart what we can do. Like if there's a president of the United States, like let's say after the next election there's a Democrat who doesn't like our idea of becoming independent, if we become independent, vote for independence after a Democrat is in power, he can refuse to acknowledge our independence, and then that creates a lot more obstacles, a lot more difficulties for us in dealing with Ottawa. But as long as Trump is president, and if he was to acknowledge us in our vote for independence, like I say, basically it would be a fait accompli. Like we would accomplish it, and there's nothing that Ottawa can do. Now, as Jason mentioned, in 1995, when Quebec was trying to was having their last independence referendum, the government of Bill Clinton did not support Quebec independence. And that would actually, now that you mention it, I saw a documentary about that where the Canadian government actually convinced Bill Clinton, I won't go into the details, to publicly speak against Quebec becoming independent, because Bill Clinton himself was very popular in Quebec. And so they got him to speak publicly against Quebec independence, and that potentially swayed some people. But if Quebec had voted for independence and the United States would not acknowledge their independence, that would have created some extra obstacles for Quebec. So having a president that would recognize our independence, if we voted that way, is a huge asset for us. And so we have this window of opportunity while Trump is in power that we might not have after he is no longer president.